Does Giannis Antetokounmpo want to play for the New York Knicks? NBA insiders across the association have been talking about the idea of Giannis leaving the Milwaukee Bucks after he had a sit-down interview with the New York Times and said, I'm not going to sign an extension this summer, and if things don't change for the better in Milwaukee, I'm not going to sign one next summer. We're going to get to some quotes from some NBA insiders as you're watching Knicks Now by Chat Sports, and I am your host, Marshall Green. Let's dive into it. This is what Marc Stein said about the matter. Quote, the Lakers and the Knicks the Knicks and Lakers are already being mentioned as franchises presumed to interest Antetokounmpo down the road if he does decide to move on from Milwaukee. And this is not the first time we have heard from an NBA insider, an NBA media member, whatever you want to call him, that Giannis at least has a little bit of interest in playing for the New York Knicks. Let's go back 3 months ago when we talked about this on the channel when Stephen A. Smith said this, quote, if it ain't LA, it's New York. I don't rule out the possibility of Giannis wanting to come to New York at all. And you know what? I'd want to play with Jalen Brunson too. If I was Giannis, I would want to play with a point guard who's the best point guard in the conference and can make my life easier. And that is what Brunson and Giannis would be. They'd be the best duo in the NBA, in my opinion, and I think that they would be a strong favorite to win multiple NBA championships. Let's hold off on that. Let's start with this. Where there's smoke, there is fire. Marc Stein, one of the most credible NBA insiders in the league. Stephen A. Smith, can't really say that same thing about him, but he is, I would say, plugged in with some NBA players, and I just don't know if he'd go on air and just lie about what he heard, but that's two guys with the biggest faces and the biggest voice in the NBA saying that Giannis at least has a little bit of interest in playing for the Knicks. Giannis, though, when he was asked about signing a contract extension by New York Times, said this, next summer, it would make more sense for both parties. Even then, I don't know. I would not be the best version of myself if I don't know that everybody's on the same page. Everybody's going for a championship. Everybody's going to sacrifice time away from their family like I do. And if I don't feel that, I'm not signing. At the end of the day, I feel like all my teammates know and the organization knows that I want to win a championship. As long as we are on the same page with that, and you show me, and we go together to win a championship, I'm all for it. The moment I feel like, oh, yeah, we're trying to rebuild, yeah. I'll say this. The Milwaukee Bucks are absolutely on the hot seat. They just fired their head coach in Mike Budenholzer. They have a new head coach that's never been an NBA head coach in his life before. And I would say this is the most pressure-packed season the Milwaukee Bucks franchise has ever entered. Because if they fall short of, I would say, at least getting to the Eastern Conference Finals, those rumors that we're talking about are going to heat up, and Giannis may force his way out of Milwaukee. I'll ask you this question, and we got more to discuss. Does Giannis ever leave the Bucks? Will he ever play for another team? Answer this one right here, though. Does Giannis ever leave the Milwaukee Bucks? Type Y for yes, type N for no. That's going to be the pinned comment on today's show. You're about to get hit with a YouTube ad break. So just scroll on down, and while the ad plays, let me know what you think. I do know this for a fact. If Giannis wants out, if he tells the Milwaukee Bucks, I want to be traded, and if the Knicks get wind of that, they are going to go all in to trade for Giannis Antetokounmpo. Why? Because he is the second best player in the National Basketball Association. And I think there's an argument that could be made that he is the best. But I'm going to be nice, and I'm going to give Jokic that nod, considering he's had one of the most dominant playoff runs in the league, NBA champion, and NBA Finals MVP. But I do think you could make a push that Giannis is just as good, if not better. The Knicks will sacrifice all the draft picks that they have built up since Leon Rose has stepped into office as the president of basketball operations, which includes 8 tradable first-round picks over the next 7 years and 10 in those. The Knicks will trade all 8 first-round picks if Giannis is on the table. And in 2024, those 4 include a Mavericks top 10 protected pick, a Detroit Pistons top 18 protected pick, and a Washington Wizards top 12 protected pick. I believe this will convey this year. Not so sure about this one. And this one's right on the border. I could see the Wizards potentially be a team that makes it to the play-in, but Not so sure. The Knicks are at least going to have 2 first-round picks, though, in 2024. Why do you trade for Giannis? Because I just freaking said it. He's the second best player in the world, and the stats back that up. The guy averaged 31 points, 12 rebounds, almost 6 assists on 55% from the field. That's created player 2K stuff right there, man. That's what you do when you're my player, when you're sitting on the couch, maybe, doing a little Doolittle, and you're having a good time. Giannis is one of the best in the world, seriously. And what I love about him is he finds a way to raise his level of play in the playoffs. Didn't do that necessarily this year against the Heat, as they did lose as a 1 seed to an 8 seed, but he only played in 3 games in that series, and he was nursing a back injury. That's one that's really hard to come back from. But look at that 2021-2022 NBA playoff run. 32-14 and 7 assists. And then the year before that, when they won the NBA championship, 30 points, 13 rebounds, and 5 assists. And when they went to the finals and they beat the Phoenix Suns in 6 games, he literally had one of the best finals performances of all time. 35 points, 13.2 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 blocks, and 62% from the field. One player doesn't win you a championship, but I'm not sure there's any player that would make the Knicks closer to being final contenders than if you added Giannis Antetokounmpo to this team. So coming up, I'm going to tell you how the Knicks, yes, they could trade for him, but I'm going to tell you how the Knicks can sign Giannis Antetokounmpo with cap space in the summer of 2025 in just a second. But first, make sure you are subscribed to New York Knicks Now by Chat Sports. We're going to continue to pump out content even though we're in the dog days of the NBA season, because I pride myself that no other Knicks channel on YouTube puts out more content than we do. Subscribe, be a real one, sub for Knicks Dubs. Also, get yourself hooked up with a Knicks Now Real One t-shirt. We've got the OG blue, we've got the new black jersey on the shelves as well, and we've got some deals going on that aren't going to last forever. So go to chatsports.com/realknicks. Take advantage of the deal before the deal is no longer. That is chatsports.com/realknicks. The link is clickable down in the comments and description of today's show. I do just kind of want to get this out there. I don't know if I made this clear. This is a next summer thing. The Milwaukee Bucks are not trading Giannis before this season. It is a next summer thing. It's all dependent on how the Bucks do this year. The Bucks win a championship, these rumors are going to bed. The Bucks losing the first round again, these rumors are going to be hotter than fish grease. You know what I'm talking about. When you look at Giannis's contract, $45.6 million this upcoming year, $48 million in 2024. Then has a player option in 2025. He's going to decline this player option. I can almost bet that. I would bet that if I could. If Giannis doesn't sign that contract extension this summer, which he said he's not going to, and he doesn't sign the contract extension next summer, he is going to decline that player option, and then he will be a free agent in the summer of 2025. And that summer is the Knicks' sweet spot. We'll break it down to you like this. The Knicks, in the summer of 2025, Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle both have player options that they are going to decline. Brunson's $24.9 million. He's not going to accept that. Julius Randle in 2025 is going to be making $29.4 million. He's not going to accept that. But the Knicks will have the bird rights to both those players, which means if you have someone's bird rights, you can re-sign players that were on your own team and exceed the salary cap. Keep that in mind. You look at the players that are going to be under contract for the Knicks in 2025. There's only 4 guys, as well as Jalen Brunson and Randle, who are going to decline that player option, that will be under contract in the summer of 2025. That's R.J. Barrett, $27 million. Mitchell Robinson, just shy of $13. Dante DiVincenzo, the big ragu, just under $12. And Josh Hart at $19.5 million. It could be Emmanuel Quickly as well, but he has not signed a contract extension. It could also include Quentin Grimes. But I'll say this. The only money that's on the books right now for the Knicks in 2025 guaranteed, if you count Randle and Brunson opting out, is $71 million. That's $100 million less than the salary cap, which means you are going to have more than enough room to sign Giannis Antetokounmpo. So let Leon Rose cook. Let Leon Rose find a way to add more talent to this roster. And you might be telling yourself, no way, Marshall, is Giannis ever going to sign with the Knicks. Well, if it's not Giannis, you still got a bunch of star players that are going to be free agents in 2025. Donovan Mitchell, we've told you about him a time or two on this channel. Brandon Ingram's going to be a free agent in 2025. Jason Tatum is going to be a free agent in 2025. Jamal Murray, as well as Paul George. Remember, I told you there was going to be $100 million in cap space. You might be actually able to get two guys with that amount of money. I appreciate everybody for tuning in to Knicks Now by Chat Sports. I know we like to shut down these rumors, and I'm not saying it's going to happen. It's probably less likely than more likely. But I do know this. I am not sleeping on the idea of the Knicks potentially adding two more superstars within the next 2 years. As always, thank you, appreciate you, and give me a follow on Twitter @MarshallGreen_.